these are the 5 growth companies that everyone should buy and hold forever. First of all, I'm gonna start off without wasting your time, and I'll get 2 out of the way real quick. NVIDIA, TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor, and NVIDIA. Everyone knows about them. I don't have to explain further, okay? These are common knowledge. Why these 2? Because NVIDIA, monopoly, pretty much. AMD has 5% market share or whatever. Who cares? Okay, NVIDIA is so far ahead. NVIDIA is the only one you should care about. But they're a $5 trillion company. Who cares? They're still gonna grow. Of course, they're not gonna double, triple in the next year or 2, but they will still grow more than the S&P 500. So why wouldn't you want to be invested in a stable company that's printing money, that has so much money, that is growing? Okay, I'm sorry for being so aggressive. And TSMC as well, because Taiwan Semiconductor is obviously fueling this whole thing, okay? And the China situation, I'm not scared of. It's constantly undervalued. Once that geopolitical risk and the scare is a bit off, it's gonna be booming, because it is pretty much the backbone of this AI. Not bubble, but hype. Anyway, also a quick disclaimer, when I tell you the 3 unknown companies right now, they are mostly AI stocks. So this is not diversified at all. This is not a good portfolio management to have all these 5 stocks. But you should definitely think about owning 3 of these at least. So let's get into the second one, which doesn't even include that much AI hype. It is Xiaomi. If you have ever watched my videos, no you haven't, I don't care, but my wife's listening and she has watched my videos and she knows how much I love Xiaomi. Why do I love Xiaomi? Because it is a company that's pretty much the Apple of Asia. It is an ecosystem. It takes over everything. People in Asia, they don't have an iPhone. Some do, some don't. The ones that don't either have a Samsung or a Xiaomi. And what tablet are they gonna use? A Xiaomi tablet. What vacuum? They're gonna have a Xiaomi vacuum. Do they have Ring? No, they have a Xiaomi security system. It's so insane. They have everything. They have e-scooters and whatever. And the bad thing about Xiaomi, I'll get it out of the way, is that the cost of goods sold is an important metric that pretty much shows you how much they actually pay to sell that product. So if that is high, that's not good. If it's low, like NVIDIA produces a chip for 5 cents and sells it for $1 trillion, that's obviously great because they're making a lot of gross profit, a lot of high profit margin. Xiaomi doesn't have that. They're relatively cheap, and now they're also doing EVs, okay? They have their own car, and look at the cars, it's so overhyped, and that's great because that's another income stream. It's diversified in itself. Xiaomi doesn't sell in Asia exclusively. The cars will be in China, but overall the products are pretty global, and most of their money still comes out of the smartphone business, like 40% I think. Anyway, Xiaomi is great. I already have great returns, but right now, obviously, it's not the best time to buy. The valuation is quite high, but if there's any pullback, boom, another opportunity. So be aware. Next stock, 4th, let's get it out of the way. Constellation Energy. You might have heard of them. Energy sector, NVIDIA, all this AI, we need energy, bro. Pretty common. Like, you should know. You shouldn't overthink this. There doesn't need to be a hype around it or whatever. It's pretty common knowledge that NVIDIA, the CEO, also said himself, like, energy is the most important thing because that's what they need. That's what they need for the data centers. That's what they need for AI to run, okay? So Constellation Energy, nuclear energy, which is super efficient, runs all the time, and pretty cheap. So right now, people say it is valued quite fair. I disagree. For me, it's still a bit overvalued. I am invested in Xiaomi, TSMC, and NVIDIA, but not in Constellation Energy, and also not in the next one. But these are 2 that I want. And yeah, anyway, so let's get into the last but not least, Vertiv Holdings, also AI, obviously, cooling the data center. So they're cooling it. You have the one that provides energy for the data center, sorry, I'm not cutting it out, okay? Get used to it. You have the one that's providing energy, you have the one that provides cooling to run these data centers. So it's pretty much related. You can also look at the chart. If one grows, the other one grows as well. So it's not that important to have all these stocks, but at least make up your mind which one do you want to have in your portfolio. It's not that diversified. Don't make this your whole portfolio, but these are the 5 ones. And another AI hype stock that I believe in is ARM Holdings. If you don't know about ARM, not gonna explain it too much, but pretty much they're like architects, okay? They're not producing anything. They're not making anything. They're designing. They're the architects. And they were nearly acquired by NVIDIA a couple of years ago. And that tells you enough, okay? That's my special last but not least. That was 6 stocks. How much more do you want? Anyway, when I say buy and hold forever, obviously I mean like 5 to 10 years, because I can't predict what's going to happen in 20 years, and you should never think like that anyway. Whenever I think about any stock, I think next 5 to 10 years, because that's the only time frame that you can make a slight prediction. Okay, we don't know, maybe 10 years ago nobody would have known about this AI hype, but technically some did, because there's always signs. Just like the internet, whenever there's a new thing, the first computers, you can already, if you're ahead of the curve, you can kind of predict the next hype in the next 5 to 10 years, but you shouldn't. Just look once there is once they're profitable, once they're a stable company, then you can make your investment. You shouldn't buy into every hype you see, okay? Anyway, let's get into the yapping session. Yeah, well, nothing to yap. Besiktas sucks. I hate Besiktas. I don't want to talk about football. We're kicked out of Europe. We're trash. I hate them anyway. Formula 1, Norris, DNF, okay? I am a slight hater. I don't hate him that much, but I do like Piastri. I'm so happy that he might win this championship. Leclerc and Antonelli, I also like a lot. And oh boy. And Hamilton washed, yeah, we know. Just kidding, by the way. Hamilton is not washed. He's still a good driver, but my Leclerc, my Le Boo, he's just better, okay? Anyway, I have nothing else to say. What's going on? I worked so much the last few days. Let's rant about work, man. I hate working. I don't want to work ever again. But unfortunately, I have to work at least 5 to 10 years. I'm saying 5 to probably more like 20 years, 15 to 20 years, in order to retire and live off dividends and stocks and take care of my family. Because I'm not doing it just for myself, okay? I need a milli for my family, for my wife, for my future kids, okay? Anyway, so gotta suffer through work a couple decades longer, but it's worth it, okay? It's worth it. And in the meantime, I can rant, I can voice my opinion on these YouTube videos, talking to the void, which is pretty much my wife, because she's the one listening. Anyway, I love you. Not you, like whoever you are. If you're listening, I mean my wife. I love you, and have a nice day, and peace and love. Bye.